And Brad, it's going to be a hot weekend for anyone who's heading out to the Greek Festival, right?
Yeah, there's some shade out there. They got those big tents. Those always help out as well. It's going to be a nice night tonight, though, because once the sun goes down, you get in the shade. It's actually going to be very comfortable because it's not really humid. As hot as it's going to be this weekend, it's going to be a dry heat. Remember, it's not the heat, it's the humidity. This will be a good example this weekend. Sunny and hot this weekend, low humidity. It starts to tick up a little bit next week as the heat is sticking around. Dorian's moving away, but well-defined eye. This storm has had a very long history of developing that eye and just kind of staying really succinct. Very warm water ahead of it, so it is likely going to stay a hurricane. We're clearing out as we're losing the sunlight here as we head towards sunset, which is coming earlier and earlier, but huge surge in the Outer Banks. Unfortunately, this track, which is the red line, unfortunately is the worst case scenario for storm surge on the sound side. It didn't make landfall on Cape Hatteras as it wrapped around. Remember, the winds are counterclockwise, so it was moving this way. The air was whipping back around. It was blowing straight down the Pamlico Sound. This is shallow water, so it pushes that water just like you would in your bathtub with an arm, and it pushes that water right over the island. Almost a 7-foot jump in water level in about 2 hours in some of these locations. So it wasn't a gradual rise, it was like a wave of water. Look at all of the tropical storm warnings, and yes, hurricane warnings up in Halifax, up towards Nova Scotia. Newfoundland also has some hurricane watches up. That is going to be quite the event up there in the Canadian Maritimes. Now, we're in the peak of hurricane season. Right now, we're getting close to September 10th, which is the exact peak day. Well, today, we're the 6th. We're heading towards that, and we're likely going to see more activity because the Atlantic is really heating up. A couple tropical waves we're keeping an eye on. There is a tropical storm way up here. I'm not going to track it because it's not heading towards us. It's Gabrielle, so that's not an issue. This one is something I'm keeping an eye on because look at the long-range forecast here. 70% chance of development in 5 days. It could be in this vicinity. Now, there's a little wave ahead of it, but that's just got a 10% chance of development. So in about 5 to 6 days, we're going to have to watch this area of the Atlantic. We might have another system out there, Umberto, that we have to keep an eye on. There's a look at that big ridge. High pressure centered over the south. Boy, talk about a heat wave. Temperatures in the mid to upper 90s. Feels like the middle of summer. We're in September, and we're adding to our 90-degree days. Today, 93 the high temperature, so 64 days of 90 or higher. 67 at this point last year. We ended up with 74. I think we're going to catch up to last year based on the pattern here in the next 6 to 10 days because through the middle of the month, it looks like we're going to see above average temperatures. Remember, the average high, 84 degrees, so around 90 is not normal. Here's your weekend forecast. Both days, probably 91, 92-ish. And again, really warm weekend, lots of sunshine. Should be beautiful, but it will be dry. That's the good news. 7-day forecast. Panthers game, if we hit 92, that would be the hottest home opener on record. 91 set back in 2015 for that Houston game. But remember what happened in 2015? Maybe we want it to be the hottest on record on Sunday. Another game on Thursday. We'll see those temperatures nice and warm again with a chance of an isolated storm.